Hey everyone, it's Ryan1940 here. Today we're taking a look at Stormworks, and this LHA-2 is finally released. I'm going to show you in this video how to use all the systems in it, or at least talk about the systems so you know what's there. And if you watch this video, you should be able to operate the ship. It's kind of simple, but there's a lot of random stuff in here, like freshwater systems and that kind of stuff, so I'll show you all that. Let's get started. Oh, before I start, this thing actually just fits into a normal workbench. There's no modding needed to get this thing to spawn in. You don't have to do any crazy things like that. Yeah, so it's kind of limited in size, but it's how I like to build my ships. Up top here, we're at the highest level that you can climb to. We've got the mast that has all the sensors and stuff in it, the two machine guns here, and there's extra ammo in this guy, the RSL, Ready Service Locker. And then we've got the SR Bach 20 made by Tokai Hiru. This is the exhaust stack for the generators, so there's 3 generators. We'll go talk about that when we get deeper into the ship. And this is the exhaust stack for the 2 5x5 6-cylinder engines which power the ship. Alright, and around the ship here we've got some fire stations, and they all work the same way. You take the hose, click it to the hose anchor, turn the valve and hit R, and then you get your fire main going. So fire main is primed all throughout the ship, and there's different fire stations around for you to use. This is the bridge, and we'll start the ship up. I'll show you how to do that, but first let's talk about some of the different systems in here. We've got the navigation system by Seaweed. Seaweed also makes the weather system I like to use, and they also make, let's turn that on, the radar. So marine radar here. The systems for the ship, or the engine startup, is pretty easy. You just start the starboard engine or the port engine, doesn't matter, and then Sharp's ECU comes up. Alright, and then when it says it's good, it'll just read out right here. All good there, and then all good there. There we go. So we can adjust the throttle right here, throttle lever. And then we have a variable pitch prop, so the ship's not moving until you move this forward a little bit. And there we go, start crawling forward. We can add more pitch in if we want, and then the speed increases. Eventually it's going to get to a point where you got to add more throttle, right? 10 knots is fine, and then the helm, of course, you can use that to drive the ship around. It's not too maneuverable, but it is like a bigger ship. And there's a stability system. There's a couple stability systems, active stabilizers inside the ship to move some weights around to keep the ship stable when you land aircraft on it. And because of that, it kind of fights against you sometimes when you're turning, but it's all right. Seaweed's navigation system here I like to use in my ships because it's quite simple. You just mark a space on the map like that, and you can just draw out a bunch of waypoints, and then actually let's zoom this out even some more there. Look at that. Okay, and then all I got to do is, oops, no, we don't want to do that. I can just hit autopilot, and I can click that to see where I'm at. So now the ship's going to drive itself. Don't touch the helm after you do that, because it'll override and it'll just cancel that out. If you do, then you can just click active again, and it'll go from standby to active. You can adjust the throttles though. It's not going to affect the autopilot, and you can just sit in the captain's chair if you want to get the external view that you would get on the helm. And that's about it. There's backlights here for the heading, and then the speed readout. We got the radio is by Captain Kilo, like a push-to-talk one, and then this is the depth reading. Down here are the light switches for external navigation lights, flight deck lights, internal lights. Port anchor and the starboard anchor is made by the Chicken Soar, I think. And I really like it because it's automatic, so it pays out. It'll keep paying out the anchor until, oops, there we go. It'll keep paying out that anchor until it touches the bottom, then it'll stop, and then if you press it again, it's just going to pull the anchor up and then stop automatically when it comes all the way up. So that's really nice. I think that's about it. Most of the rooms on the ship will have space heater and overhead lighting switches for them. There's an automatic fog system I like to use. You can turn that on here. That's made by, I think, Roadhammer is the name. And every 2 minutes, if there's heavy fog, you'll see this indicator will come active if it's in a condition where it would be used, and then you'll just hear the foghorn go off every 2 minutes. So it's pretty cool. You got your transponder controls here, so you can locate. That'll flash if it's detecting one, and then this is for you to turn yours on. You can see it's detecting ours, so it works. This is the RWR system by Rat, I think it was. I might be wrong. I think it is, but it's in auto mode, so if the ship paints us with radar, it's going to fire off some chaff. But we can manually launch it as well, and then you'll see that in the photo mode if we pull the out. Yeah, just bursts a bunch of chaff around, which is really cool. I really wish it was reloadable in Stormworks, but it's just not, because there normally are by the chaff launchers like some pyrotechnic like lockers, and you can manually reload them on real ships. So it'll launch from this first, then it'll launch from that, and then I think it goes to the launcher here on the catwalk, and then it goes to this other launcher back over here on the starboard side. If you don't want it to auto launch when the radar is detecting it, you just click that off, and then it's just going to wait for you to do it. So you can control that there. There's a rifle locker here for security purposes. You've got your guns. Inside of here is the flight deck control room. At the moment, we don't have any aircraft on board, but there are people that have made aircraft specifically that fit into the landing scheme of this thing. So it's 9 across. And then 7 blocks in between, just small connectors. If you can do that and put that on your aircraft, it's going to be able to land here. So when the ship spawns in, these guys are automatically on, so if you were to try and fly to the ship, you can just, you don't have to do anything or set anything up. And this is the laser beacon system. We can turn that off to save electricity, but essentially AV91, which was made by Soup, they made it so that there's a display on their aircraft that shows the position of the landing zone by looking at that beacon. So it's really helpful for you if you can imagine a plane coming in, you're kind of level. You can see the display that tells you, yeah, you're right over the beacon. So you can turn that on, or it's defaulted up to on. You can turn it off to save electricity, but same thing with the RAS system. They call it a RAS system, but it's really not a RAS system. It's just a landing system. It doesn't have any traverse features. You can turn it off to save electricity, but remember, if you turn this off while there's aircraft parked, they're just eventually going to just slide around and fall off the deck, unfortunately. This system here, turn this on. It's made by McLaren 2009. I think I put it in all my ships, actually. If you just go a couple pages over, there we go. We got TACAN, so you can transmit on a frequency and hit transmit. And then if you've got aircraft with this system in it, you can just pick the frequency to receive. If it matches that TACAN frequency, it's going to tell you the distance and then the bearing to that beacon. So I like to put that on my ships, and if you put that on your aircraft, then you have a way to navigate to the ship aside from using your map. Now this is the CO stateroom, just a normal bed, and the toilets work, the showers work, and the sinks work. Right now all the cold water will go to the shower, or the sinks and the toilets. Hot water will go to the shower heads, and the sink, I think, in the galley also takes hot water to clean the plates and wash the food. This is CIC, which is super basic. You can come down from the bridge right there, and it's essentially just controlling Missile System 5 by Bruce. A very simple radar guided missile system. I like it because the magazine is automatic, and it's got I think 36 missiles or something crazy in there when it works. Sometimes the physics kind of gets bugged and the missiles get thrown about everywhere. We can go down one level. You see all the pipes and stuff are kind of labeled by color. So dark blue is fresh water, so these are probably going up to the CO stateroom. And then the light blue is oxygen, usually, or air, usually for the engine, and then the black is exhaust. So this is probably from some generator, and that's probably from the main engines. Red is fire main or damage control related. This color here is for black water, so it's going to be from the toilet. And I think the light gray was the gray water tank, if I remember correctly. And we got another rifle locker down here, and then this goes out to the flight deck, so take a look out there. Alright, so Soup has made AV91 for landing on this thing as kind of like a VTOL jump jet, but they also made for me to use this base of a tractor, and I've modified it 3 different ways. There's a firefighting one, the fuel refueling one, and a kind of generator tow tractor kind of one right here. You can unlock them from their parking positions right here, and there's some other parking positions by default are off, but if you wanted to move it over here, you can turn it on and park it here. The landing positions and the parking positions for aircraft I've left them all on, so you can just fly to the carrier and choose to land the aircraft in a parking state right here and kind of shut it down. And yeah, so you can populate this thing with aircraft. Up top side also, we'll start over here I guess. This is a freshwater fill for the freshwater tank. For the shore side fill, you can generate your own freshwater. I'll show you that. This is for the wastewater discharge for black water. We can also treat it and discharge it over the side. I'll show you that later. And this is a tank number 3, diesel tank 3 fill, topside intake. So you can take fuel from the outside, plug it in here, and it goes to tank 3. And then tank 3, you can send it around anywhere you want. The numbering scheme for the tanks is kind of like in the Navy, so it's port, even, starboard, odd. So 1, 3, 5, 7 are on the starboard side. 2, 4, 6, 8 are on the port side. This is the missile magazine. You got all the missiles down there, pretty neat. And then you got the door to go in there as well. You'll notice there's cables, and I have empty ones up here too. So that's just in case if you were to carry like a hose or whatever roping you want to put it down, you can put it there, not make a mess, and grab whatever cable you need. Because there are all the parking spaces will have electrical cable anchors near them, so that you can keep the aircraft charged up, because if you shut down the helicopter, it's still going to need power to stay connected with these small connectors. So as long as your aircraft has a way to plug in power, these chargers will plug up, charge your aircraft and keep it so it's not going to run out of battery and slide off the deck eventually. Now we have got fuel stations here. So this is a jet fuel and then a diesel fuel. You can pull the hoses, one for the forward side of the ship and then the other for the aft side. Same thing. They both go to the same, there's 2 different tanks. There's a jet fuel and diesel flight fuel tank. They pull from that, and the intakes for that are right here. So we can refuel it from the shore side this way, and these are the pumps for that. So quite a bit of fuel for aircraft, and then you've got the way to refuel it when you need it. We've got some guns here. This is the 50 cals. There's a couple on this side as well, and then another machine gun. And then there's some magazines as well. I believe when we go below, you'll see some extra additional ammo for that. So that's most of we need to talk about for the flight deck. We can go down one level as well. Let's see if this elevator is going to work. There we go. Oh, the hangar door is closed. Alright, let's see if the hangar door is going to work. We'll have to kind of transport ourselves through. This kind of gets stuck sometimes when... Yeah, it's probably going to get stuck. Sometimes it's like laggy, and even in the gentle motion of the ocean, it kind of gets stuck. Maybe we can help it, I don't know. Yeah, that kind of is a crappy one. If you want to have that working, it's much easier when you're just in port and it's not like rolling around. There we go. It's going a little bit. It usually it has to slide back, and then to this extension is basically, and it works that way, and then it just pulls itself along the track that way. Yeah, not the best, but it does work. It's just this thing can be a little bit laggy, I guess. I wonder what it's getting caught up on. Okay, there it goes. Yeah, because there's just a really tight clearance here, even gentle motion, so it just kind of struggles with it, unfortunately. I don't know how to fix that. If I do, I'll update the aircraft carrier, or the LHA, sorry. and get that better. It would kind of have that problem with the elevator at first, and if you've seen my build videos of this, but we solved it with having more track bases to kind of force it through where it was getting stuck. So we might need to do that for this. But yeah, it's kind of a tricky system. So it pulls the system off, the door away from the bulkhead, and then slides it back with this buttons control there, and then you can lock it to seal it fully. But there are parking spots on the elevator here, and you've got little winches and even winches inside here that help you manipulate the aircraft so you can kind of pull it in once it's down there. Because remember, you're gonna have to turn these spots like off so that you can move the ship or aircraft around to slide it in. So that's controlled. The winches are controlled here if you wanted to pull the aircraft onto the elevator, and then you've got your parking control right there. So if I turn that off, that's going to turn off. And then we've got tractor parking. By default it's off, but this is where you can park your tractor if you want to bring it down here, because there are little spaces like one right there, one right there, and one right there if you want to bring them into the hangar room. And then another handling winch over here. This space, you can fuel the aircraft up here, but it's probably just easier doing it topside, I guess. And we got the controls for that to see it. I got a little eye washing station here as well. And once again, that drains down to the gray water. I think that this guy, I can't remember if this is just from its own little tank or if it's actually connected to the freshwater system. I think that's it for the hangar. Let's go up kind of one half of a level. So this is the galley over here. Got the working sink with the hot water. This is a mess deck, really tiny and kind of compact. It's almost like an afterthought. There's air conditioning around different parts of the ship, like so each of these little staterooms will have an air conditioning vent and a control to turn it on or off. This is more of like a department head level stateroom or staterooms, and then on the other side of this is one of the heads, so we'll look at that. So we got a couple of working sinks there as well, a couple toilets that work, and then the shower stalls are in the back here. So hot water, cold water again. On this other side, we've got the fan coil room. So this is the cryo coolers, basically cooling the ship around. Well, not cooling the ship, but there's a few of them throughout the ship, so they'll cool certain areas. So this is cooling the bathroom, the galley, or the mess decks on the other side, and those berthings. This is going further aft here. This is where the squadron ready rooms are. There's one on this side, there's one on the other side, and this is a little smaller junior officers berthing. Lighting controls and heating controls, of course, in all of them. This goes out to the catwalk on the starboard side, so you can crawl out that way. And then SAR locker, another ready room. And you can refill your SCBAs or your diving scuba gear stuff here with these guys. Kind of just pulls air from the top there and then pumps it into these guys so that they can charge it. This is hatch controls, so if you need to load cargo into the ship, you can do that. And then all throughout the ship, there's you'll notice these like little breakers like this guy. This is the electrical isolation. Each segment of the ship or room or whatever will have one, and they're tied to what I call the electrical bus, but it's not really, Stormworks doesn't really model like electrical systems like really well. It's just you're clicking things to each other, but you can isolate segments of the ship. You can isolate the forward or midships or aft segments broadly, and then those guys are connected to these individual breakers that go to rooms or P-ways, so you can electrically isolate things in a finer manner. This is a armored armory sort of thing. There's another one up forward, and then this goes out to the stern. Machine gun there, and we got some RSL ammo here, kind of a hoist or a winch to like tow stuff if you need. You can go up to the flight deck from here, and then you can come, if you fall overboard, you can come up to the ship this way. On the other side, we've got the boat deck. That's also, the rib is made by Soup. It's been on my other ships. This thing is a little cumbersome to deal with, the way that this folds out, but you can Where is that? Yeah, so these arms here, you can deploy them out. And then the crane arms will fold open, and then you can attach a bow line to the front of that crane, and then you can slew the crane or fold the crane out that way, and then it'll pull the boat with it. You can release the boat here, one of these switches, yeah, buttons, and then that releases this guy so that you can have it go traverse that way, and then you can lower it down that way. It's kind of tricky though, because the arm cable lengths have to kind of be the same, and they're often not. They're slightly off, but it does work. Let's take some finagling. There's a bunch of ropes if you need that for that purpose there. And that is this deck. I think we can close that out. Well, let's run up forward, and then we'll take a look. So there's a guy named Me6. He's made a axolotl helicopter, and I'll link that. But you can fit 2 of them down here, and his helicopter is really neat. It folds up pretty compact, and then also SH-159 does fit down here. There's enough clearance to do that, so you can fit aircraft in there. Pretty happy with that. This is the I think this is for the sprinkler system for the magazine on the other side here. There we go. Yeah, this is a magazine for the 50 cal ammo. There's a bunch of them on this side here. So yeah, just got a sprinkler system over there above. You can actuate it on the other side. And then we've got these go out to the catwalks, the forward catwalks on the port side there, and then this is the starboard side catwalk. This goes down a level, obviously. And then up forward here we got a small middle medical bay, just one bed. And then this one is the forward generator. So go ahead and turn that on. Sharp's ECU is going to come up. You can see our electrical power is going down because we haven't been running any generators. So this is generator number 1. It's the most forward one. There's one back aft, and there's a midships one, which is the largest one and the main one for the electrical system on the ship. Up forward even further is just basically going out to the anchors. So close that. I was envisioning putting like a hose system here, because in real life you do wash the anchor stuff down as you pull it in, but it's just too much, I guess. Let's go down a level. Let's close the doors here. Alright, so this is the armory. Got a lot of weapons in here. Got the most, I think, on the ship. And this goes down. This is like a sealed pathway to go down another level. I don't think we want to do that just yet. This is kind of like a half deck that goes out to the hangar. The ship's kind of strange because right in here is actually a stabilization system, or one of them. There's a few of them. So this has this huge block weight that's moving back and forth, and that's so that when you land the helicopter on the deck and stuff, the ship's not going to roll over on you. And how we also counterbalance the superstructure being on the starboard side. So that's that. Now we can go down a level. Some of most of the ladder wells that traverse large levels will be kind of sealed like this, so water, in case of the ship's flooding, it's not going to go up a level. This goes down to the bilge. This is where all the pump magic happens to move all the bilge water or the ballast water and the fuel around. The repair locker, there's a couple throughout the ship. Just got all the firefighting stuff and even ways to charge the SCBAs again. That one uses the bottle system, so you've got a limited amount, but the other station back aft has the one that you can just charge infinitely because it pulls from the air. So this is the fire main tank. You have the ability to manipulate all the liquid systems in this on the ship pretty well. This is AUX2. So this is where we actually take in seawater from the sea chest. It gets pumped to the seawater holding tank. See, it's going down quite a bit because this is running, this desalinator is running. And it's pumping fresh water into this tank. Okay, so from there we can actually pump over into the hot water tank, and then we can use this thing to heat the hot water to whatever temperature we want. Right now it's not hot at all, but you can set that to like 110, 120 degrees, and then turn it on, and it's going to keep the water at that temperature. And that's the water that's going out to like the showers and the sink in the galley. Cold water's going to everything else. So we'll show you where to control that, because you don't control that here actually. This is kind of just where it's happening. If we go over here, this is going to be aux 1 on this side. Now aux 1 is the location where that black water comes in. So this is the black water holding tank, and then we can use desalinators here, but this is kind of the simulation of, oh, it looks like we're changing course, I think. Yeah, I hope that's what's happening. And then it gets treated, becomes treated black water, and from here you can pump that over the side or whatever. You also have a way to, I think, just discharge black water untreated into the ocean if you want. And then this is the gray water tank. It's kind of cross bulkheads right here. This is the gray water tank. That's the shower water and that kind of stuff. And you have the same control to discharge that over the side. On this side, we'll turn this generator on. This is generator number 2, and it is the biggest generator. It produces enough electricity to keep the ship fully powered. It's got a huge fuel tank to keep it supplied with fuel. And I think that there's a cross connect for the fuel to go to get fuel from the main fuel bladders for the ship. So yeah, this is this guy. Couple batteries here to hold the electricity and store it. Not a lot though. We have halon systems also, or simulated halon systems. It uses nitrogen in this game. We got the tank contents here, and then the rotating lights. So if we have a fire in some of these bigger spaces, we can just turn this on, and the alarm goes off. We can silence it, and this stuff will pump into those spaces, and then fill it with hopefully enough nitrogen to make the fire go out. This is CCS. This is our central control station. This is how we look at all the different systems for engineering on the ship. So you can play kind of like mini games with this and balance stuff out. Right on this side we got the fire main pumps. That keeps the system primed. We can do gray water tank discharge, the suction system, and this stuff's all on by default. Short connection to black water discharge up there. Treat the black water. So we've got some black water in the tanks right now. We can treat it, and it goes into the treated side. Sea chest intake. So this is kind of full right now, so we can turn that off, and you'll see it start to go down. Seawater holding tank is just not able to keep up with the amount of desalination going on, so we'll let it go, and it should start to fill. Why is it not going actually? Sea chest fill. I'll have to look at I have to check this out, because it should fill that tank right now. Oh, fill saltwater tank, that's why. There we go. I was gonna say, I was like, it's definitely got it, so like you can fill it. So we can fill it there. This is obviously, you saw the desalination, so you can turn that salt water that's in aux 2 into fresh water, and it goes in the freshwater tank. And if we want, we can transfer cold to hot water, or back the other way, hot to cold. So we'll fill up the hot water tank. It's getting pretty empty. So you can just kind of manage this on your voyage. It is sort of in a state where it has enough water in it. The fire main, yeah, we can fill that also. So the thing that I'm proud of is that all these systems that require the salt water, they all come from the sea chest, which is like one centralized point where we're pulling all our salt water from, instead of having a million different perforations out into the hull to get salt water. Just go directly from the ocean to these individual systems. So they all come from one main place, which is really neat. And on the other side here is the ballast system. Who made this display? I think, let me actually consult my notes, because I want people to have the credit they deserve, because I really like these things. Banner Check, there we go. Banner Check made these, and then I think Pufferfish made those other ones for the fuel. this basically is tank fills and empties all the button controls. So this is the starboard side controls, this is the port side controls. So we can take ballast water, say from port 2, which will be that guy. We want to empty it and we want to make it go to starboard 1. So we can say tank 1 fill, port 2, or yeah, port 2 empty, and then you'll see it's starting to fill that guy and it's starting to drain this guy. Okay, so we can do that for any tank combination. It's really good. And another thing I'm proud of on this ship is that we can, so let's stop this. We can say, you know, ballast water normally has to be treated before it goes over the side into the ocean. So I can say I want to empty out tank number, let's say tank number 8. So I'll empty tank number 8, and I want it to go to get pumped over the side. So I can't just pump it over the side. I have to put it through the ballast treatment connection, and then you'll see the water from that ballast tank now is starting to go into this untreated ballast water tank, and I'll show you the room that's in. And then we can also turn on the treatment. So once it's treated, oops, sorry, it was on. This is the connection. So this connection is actually connected to the ballast pipework. So if you have that connection on, then it's going to send it to the treatment plant, whatever's in those pipes. And this right here turns on the treatment. So it's kind of like the black water thing. It goes through desalinators, kind of simulate the treatment of it, and then it gets put in this holding tank right here. And then over back aft, there's a way to discharge that over the side. So we can let that go. And actually, let's kind of stop it. We just got enough water in there, so we can turn the treatment connection off. So the ballast system pumps are all on, or able to be on, and then this is still treating the remaining water that's in there. Now, same thing with the fuel. Oh, tank number 8. Oh, I'll have to fix whatever happened here. This is broken somehow. Well, that's good. Glad I saw that. This is by Pufferfish. It's the same kind of thing with the ballast system. You can align. Right now, the ship always will spawn in aligning the fuel to drain from all the tanks and go to the header tanks. So 5 and 6 are the ones that feed the engine. So they will drain faster, obviously. So we want everybody to pump all their fuel into those tanks to keep them full. So it's always aligned like that. You can change it if you want. And this is the topside fill tank, so the pumps to turn on the topside fill. So if you got fuel coming in from the outside, it's going to go to tank 3, and then like I said, you can align. So you'd have tank 3 fill, and then you can discharge it, empty it out, and then send it out to the other tanks there that way. This is just some engine monitoring stuff on this side, and the ship's speed and course, or yeah, course and speed. Sorry. On this side is the controls for the generators, so or the monitoring of the generators. So you can disconnect generators from inputting their power into the grid, or you can turn off these switchboards, and they'll basically turn off a whole segment of electrical power to parts of the ship. All those individual little breakers you see outside of the spaces, they all go to these specific breakers here, depending on where they're at in the ship. So you can control that. You can see the electrical level, and then I think yeah, over here is all just the fuel available to these generators. So that's the central control station. I don't know why that one's messed up. We'll have to check that out. I must have cut it out on accident or something. On the other side of this is a paint storeroom, kind of just like a fake room. And so this uses solid rocket fuel. A little dangerous, but we've got paint storerooms on ships are kind of dangerous spots because they're solvents a lot of times and thinners, you know, that kind of stuff. So there's a big fire hazard. So we got that simulated here with the sprinkler system, and also a small halon system or nitrogen in the game, obviously, to pump into there. And you can hopefully get the fire out if that gets started. These are more bottles that feed into the generator 3 room. So yeah, that was the front part of this, and then let's go this way. So this is going to be a bulkhead that goes out to this goes up to the hangar bay, this ladder well. So of course it's sealed, so the water can't traverse the deck levels. And going further aft, this is the lower level of the engine room. So 2 5x5 6-cylinder engines, one on each side. Same thing with the generator room. It's got tops one level above us. There's a bunch of like nitrogen bottles and stuff that are the fire suppression system. Going further aft, we got another locker, repair locker here. This is Gen 3, so the furthest aft one. We can turn that on. Just let it go. And then the doorway down here will go down to the this goes down to the bilge level, which is the lowest level, and it's where all the pumps and stuff are for the ballast and fuel tank. There's not much down there. This is the actual ballast treatment plant. So it looks like we've got all that is done. We can turn this off now. So from here we can just discharge the treated ballast water, and it's pumping it over the side right now. So a lot of the spaces will have seats, so you can kind of see what's going on outside the ship. And you can see it kind of draining off from that discharge right there. So got some cool overboard discharges. Yeah, so that is this system for ballast treatment. And then if we wanted to go, we'll go down one level. I'll show you where that sea chest stuff is. So this is on the other side of this is the sea chest. So this has a saltwater intake coming through here. Green pipes on my ships are saltwater systems. So this is the actual pump that's connecting to the ballast system on the other side, all that salt water, and sending it up to the treatment plant above it. Orange on my ships is usually the like torque stuff. So this is the prop shaft. I wish we had actual prop shaft parts in regular Stormworks, but we don't, because I would design my ships a lot differently. But right now this really unrealistically goes through here. So the sea chest is where we're getting all our salt water for different systems. So one of these pumps is for, I think this is for the ballast. Oh, this is for the ballast system right here. This is probably for the fire main system, and there's another one I think for the pumps, the water treatment plant as well, or the water generation plant. So we got some pressure sensors to monitor the ballast system, because sometimes I'm wondering how good it's working, if the pumps are getting all the different combinations of tank connections working properly. So there's a aft bilge, there's a midships one, and there's a forward one. Kind of got them separated a little bit for flooding purposes. And there's not much down there, but just all those pumps and pipes to work with the fuel system and the ballast system. Alright, so you saw on the port side there that ladder well will take you up to the hangar bay. This also, let's go up the engine room way. Okay, so this is, oh, I got turned around. I'll have to show you I tell you, this ship is so big that I forget where I'm at sometimes. There's another like level that's kind of weird to access for the engine room. So if we go up this like half deck here, this will take you up into that Overwatch thing with the windows there. So if you want to ever take a look at what that looks like. Oops, went too far. All right, this is like a half deck. Now this takes you to the upper level of the engine room. So this is how you get into it. You can get some fire stations here, and then just a bunch of these nitrogen bottles everywhere. You can actuate all this stuff back aft over here, so you can just trigger it, and then you can silence the alarm like the other one. So there's a ton of bottles. There's even more on this side, I believe. Oh no, there's just fire station. Just kidding. I think I had it and I just moved it all to be in line on this side, but yeah, you can get that going and try to flood the space with nitrogen, and then if not, you can just make entry with your hoses. There's another fire station on this side as well. You get in there and put the fire out. Going back aft here is another repair locker, And then further aft is that hatch that you can open up by the boat deck on one deck above us. That goes all the way up to the flight deck. There's another hatch there, and this is kind of the cold store room. And this is the cryo coolers that keep that pretty cold, so it's pretty cold down there. It's like -3, and the storeroom is -27 degrees. It's pretty cold. Alright, and then this guy is the berthing. So we got just a regular cruise berthing in here, small one, and then this is the bathroom for them. So all those, once again, all those things work. You got the shower, the sink, and the toilet, so that works there. So yeah, this one is a strange one to get to, just because you got to use this half height kind of hatch here to get into. Not really a good way to do that, given this voluminous space here. And let me think about it. I think we touched on everything in the ship at least once. I don't know if I mentioned that over here. This is just a mag sprinks for the magazine for the 50 cals. Sorry, I've been talking for like 40 minutes, so I'm forgetting if I already covered stuff or not. Yeah, these guys is just storage for all the 50 cal machine gun ammo on the catwalk, so you can have the mag sprinks going if there's a fire. Hopefully put it out, but realistically I think what's going to happen in Stormworks is if that explodes, all the stuff around it's going to explode, so it is what it is, you know. And that is, I think that's all. Let me get out of here and yeah. So this is LHA-2. Congrats if you made it. You've probably learned about every little system and or what have you in this thing. I hope you enjoy it. I built this. I started building it, I think, in like February. It's now July, like I said earlier, and I've been doing it on and off. I just really like doing marine engineering things in it, so I like making the water plant and that kind of stuff and the cooling things. Next ship I'm probably going to make is going to be an LH or a LSD or LPD, so that's going to be more like a traditional looking ship with the big thing I want to do is make something with a well deck. Soup has actually made already for me a small amphibious carrier vehicle that I really am looking forward to driving off like a stern ramp and then doing some amphibious operations like that. So we got the LHA-2, which I hope you guys enjoy it and make comments on it, tell me what you don't like or whatever. I'll try and fix bugs if you guys come across them. And if you haven't checked out the other ships, I've also made FFG 46 and FFG 59. So one is a traditional looking frigate, another one looks more like a Arleigh class destroyer, but it's definitely a small frigate size in relation to Stormworks. Yeah, this one is, I think, less intense on the frames actually, because the other warships have way more complex missile systems in them that kind of eat away at the FPS. So hopefully this thing works well for you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the video below or in the section below, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. See ya. Bye.